A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf is a Makki surah, and we see that Surah Yusuf is one of the surahs of the Quran which has been revealed at one stretch. There is no chronological order in the Quran. Everything is coming as a theme. And as far as the disbelievers are concerned, they thought that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would not know anything about the life of Hazrat Yusuf. So Allah Ta'ala revealed this surah as a stretch. In this surah we will see that it talks about the general issues between relationships. And as for Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, his time period was almost 1900 years before the coming of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. And Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, we know that came about 500 years before Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you can say that this story of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam is 4000 years old. But despite that it is so old, we will see that the issues that are discussed in this surah are very much related to the issues that we see and hear today. So therefore there may be a lot of lessons to be learnt from this surah for us, and I would request the viewers to try to sit and read Surah Yusuf on your own also, and mark the points which you think are giving you a lesson for your own good and your guidance. Of course, when we read it together, it helps us also to understand, but sometimes when we read it alone, then we give more comprehension to the understanding also, and this will enable us to relate that the issues of man have always been the same, and see how Allah guides us through them, how to correct our behavior and our conducts. We begin the surah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Ra, Alif Lam Ra, Tilka Ayatul Kitabil Mubin. These are the verses of the book that makes things clear. Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyya la'allakum taqilun. We have revealed this Quran in the Arabic language so that you may understand. So it tells us here that Quran, the language for Quran was chosen to be the Arabic language. Why didn't Allah pick up any other language? That means the Arabic language has a lot of depth to its language. That is why it was selected. And of course the addressees in the first place were the Arabs, and their language was Arabic also. And many a times we also think that Quran, it's very difficult for us to understand because it is in the Arabic language, and why can't we just read the English translation, or why can't we just read our own translations, that is Urdu or any other translation, and why do we have to read and understand it in the Arabic? Well, the first thing is that there is a lot of barakah in reading the Arabic text itself, and once you will be able to understand the Arabic language, you will be able to read the Quran without the translation. That means you will not be depending upon the translation. And to understand the Quran, if only you can understand the grammatical reasons that need to be followed to understand the translation in its correct form. So try to read books or bring in books or meet people who can at least teach you the translation of the Quran. And once you have learnt the translation of the Quran, go into the grammatical reasons why a certain verb or a noun was used in that particular form, and then you will see a time will come when you will not be needing any translations, and you will be reading the Quran in the Arabic text. And the more depth that you go into about the words, you will see that it's like a sea, and you keep digging and digging, and you will find that there is more explicit meanings to it, which makes the understanding easier. So that is why Allah says that we revealed it in the Arabic language so that you can understand, because probably no other language can give you the depth of the meanings as compared to the Arabic language. Nahnu naqussu alayka ahsan al-qasasi bima awhayna ilayk. We relate to you the best of the stories through revealing this Hazal Quran, through this Quran to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa in kunta min qablihi la min al-ghafilin. though before this you were one of those who did not know. إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. This was when Yusuf alayhi salam said to his father, O my father, in a dream I saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon. I saw them prostrate themselves before me. Now who was Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam? He was the son of Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam, and we know that Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam's father's name was Hazrat Ishaq, and the lineage goes up to Hazrat Ibrahim, meaning Hazrat Ishaq, son of Hazrat Ibrahim, and then from Ishaq there was Yaqub, and from Yaqub alayhi salam we have 12 sons. Now from these 12 sons, 10 sons were from the first wife of Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam, and the last youngest 2 sons, that is Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam and Banyamin, were from the second wife. Now here he is referring to his father of a dream that he had, in which he sees 11 stars, to which it was referred to as his 11 brothers, and sun was referred to as his father, and the moon was referred to as his mother, because Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam could interpret the dreams. Now when he comes to Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam and he tells about these dreams, he says, my little son, do not say anything about this dream to your brothers. Now I would suggest that as we go along this surah and as we go along this story, you will have to mark the places where you pick up the points for your own understanding also. That being attentive will make it easier to understand, because you see every ayat is going to talk about the advice, about the behavior, about the conduct, and about the guidance from Allah that was given at that particular moment. Now in this, when he comes and he says the dream, we see the first thing his father says, don't go and tell this to your brothers. Now should we assume that he knew that his brothers were bad, or should we assume that he was thinking ill of the sons? This was a piece of advice, a genuine advice that he gave to his son, that don't mention it to your brothers. And of course the wisdom of Yaqub alayhi salam was very far sighted. What is this going to bring as a reaction if he goes and tells them now? Now here probably he was a young boy also. So the wisdom behind this was that don't open this information to them at this moment. Maybe later on, when the correct time will come, it will open up to them automatically. For shaitan is an open enemy to human beings, and then the reason that he gives him over here is that shaitan is an open enemy. So don't give a reason to the shaitan to cause differences between you and your brothers. So keep this dream to yourself. And then we see وَكَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ وَيُعَلِّمُكَ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَعَلَى آلِ يَعْقُوبَ كَمَا أَتَمَّهَا عَلَى أَبَوَيْكَ مِنْ قَبْلُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. It will happen, as you have seen in your dream, that you will be chosen by your Rabb for his work. He will teach you how to interpret visions and how to interpret the events, and will perfect his favor upon you. And then we also see that Yusuf alayhi salam became a Nabi also. And the children of Yaqub, as he perfected it upon your forefathers, Hazrat Ibrahim and Ishaq alayhimus salam before you, surely your Rabb is knowledgeable, wise. Indeed, in the story of Yusuf and his brothers, there are signs for inquiries. Now, for Lissa'ilin, for those who come and ask questions, and these were the disbelievers who came to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ because they thought that he would not know anything about Hazrat Yusuf. And because of this, Allah Ta'ala then revealed this surah at a stretch. This is how the story begins. إِذْ قَالُوا لَيُوسُفُ وَأَخُوهُ أَحَبُّ إِلَىٰ أَبِينَا مِنَّا وَنَحْنُ أُصْبَةٌ إِنَّ أَبَانَا لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. His stepbrothers held a meeting and said to one another, this Yusuf and his brother, that is Banyamin, are loved more by our father than us, even though we are a group of 10 and can help him more than them. In fact, our father is clearly mistaken. So you see, the first thing, the misunderstanding created by shaitan between the stepbrothers was that my father loves him more than us. So you will have to notice that how shaitan brings in these differences within the families, and how pure we may be, but the whispers of shaitan tend to dilute that pure love. So what they felt was that we are more as a group because we are 10 from one mother and they are only 2 from the other mother. So how is it that our father loves them more than us? That means our father is making a very clear mistake, not knowing that Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam would have been very fair to all 12 of them. But this is the way sometimes we are looking at things. And if in our perception Shaitan has made those whispers, then our perception can be wrong also. Let us kill Yusuf or throw him out to some far off land so that the attention of our father turns exclusively towards us. So you can see that here their greed of love. Now whether this was sincere love asking from the father, wallahu alam, but to get that love and attention, they were ready to kill their own sibling, or they were ready to throw him far away so that the father could forget him and give the entire attention to them. After that, we may again try to become righteous people, that we will try to become good. We will do this bad deed and then we will try to become good. This is also one of the times when one feels that right now I can commit this sin and I can always go and perform Hajj, and then I'll go and ask for forgiveness. At this, one of them, when they started plotting, one of them said, "Do not kill Yusuf, but if you must, throw him into some dark well so that he may be picked up by some passers-by or by a caravan." So we will see that out of the unseen, someone is going to come and help Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, and this happened that Allah at times puts it in the hearts of people that someone may stand up with mercy. And what did the sibling suggest? He said, let's not kill him, but let's just throw him away. Somebody may come and just pick him up. Now after this meeting, they go and they ask their father, "Oh, our father, why is it that you do not trust us with Yusuf, though we are his sincere well-wishers? Send him with us tomorrow that he may play and enjoy himself. We shall take good care of him." What did the father say? He said, "I would be worried if you take him away, for I fear lest a wolf should eat him up." Now maybe if the father, Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam, had sincere fears that the brothers may do ill to him, but he did not flatly say it on their face. He said that I am more worried that the wolf may eat him up while you are off your guard. They said, if a wolf could eat him despite our number, then surely we would be worthless people. When now after this persistence they were able to take him away, they resolved to throw him, because they were a group of brothers, and Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam was probably 12 or 13 at this time, so he was too little to fight them out and to overcome their plot. They resolved to throw him into a dark well. We reveal this, that is to Yusuf, a time will come when you will admonish them about this act of theirs. Now revealed to Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, this may be in the form of wahi khafi, maybe Allah Ta'ala put it in his heart to think that one day I will be taken out from here. Now of course throwing someone in a well means there is no way that he can climb up and come out. Now this could have brought him to a point of disparity also, that I may die sitting here. What if no passerby notices me? But you see, at that time Allah Ta'ala helps his man. How? By putting it in his heart that don't worry, one day you are going to open up this thing to them. So this must have given him that endurance to bear that particular time period. Now as far as the dream is concerned, that we just said that he had seen 11 stars. Now when is that dream going to be fulfilled? Because we see that there are three types of dreams. One is through Allah, which is true, you see something that may happen in future also through the dream. One is your normal everyday things that you see, you do, you get to see them at night, that is your subconscious, that brings them in the form of dreams. And this other type is the dreams that come from Shaitan, in which he scares you. Now of course every dream, it is said that it is tying around a bird's leg, and if you are going to go and tell it to someone, and then when someone is going to give you a reply on it, this is when the dream can come true. So every time you go and say a dream to someone, you make sure that you say it to a person who is going to say something good about it, or keep it to yourself. Don't go and announce it to others. Say it, if need be, to someone who is very sincere to you, someone who you know is going to give you the correct interpretation. Sometimes we go and say about dreams and people say, oh my God, that's such a bad dream. Oh my God, that's a horrible dream. Oh my God, you shouldn't do this. Oh my God. So don't go announcing your dreams, keep them to yourself, and if at all, then go and share it with someone who will give you a right response about it. So here we see that in this case, now when is this dream going to be fulfilled? No one knows. how many years or months or days, but Allah Ta'ala put it in his heart that one day will come when you are going to reveal it to them for what they did to you. Now they do not perceive its consequences. Now they don't know, they are unaware of what they are doing, and they don't know what the result will be. At nightfall they returned to their father weeping. They said, "Father, we went off to compete in racing with one another and left Yusuf by our belongings, and a wolf ate him. But you will not believe us even though we are telling the truth." So now to protect their own evil, they tried to play with what we call psychological blackmail, that you will still not believe us even though we are telling the truth. So as a proof they brought his shirt stained with false blood. "No," he cried, "your souls have tempted you to evil." Now Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam knew that this must be one of the evils of the brothers, but he said, "Fasabrun jameel, I need good patience. Wallahul musta'anu ala ma tasifun. Allah alone can help me bear the loss you are speaking of." So if you can imagine a mother, or if you can imagine a father today whose child goes lost, the brothers come back and they say that the wolf ate him. So if you can just picturize this moment of agony and stress and anxiety, and if you can then see the response coming out, for sabrun jameel, is it not something very hard? It is something very hard indeed, to bear your emotions and to control your language and your tone and your body language and your reaction, and then to say that I will seek help from Allah. And this comes from the Mohsinin. This is something again which one could have reacted negatively, but he restrains from such a reaction and he holds back his negative emotions and he brings out the positive by saying, "Okay, I am going to be patient and I'll leave my decision to Allah." What happened was that on the other side with Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, a caravan passed by and sent a water carrier who let down his bucket. And what happened when he let down his bucket in the well? He shouted and he said, "Good news, I found a young boy." They concealed him like trade merchandise. Why? Because for them this was a boy who was lost, so now this was their property and now easily they could have gone and sold him as a slave. But Allah knew what they did. They brought this boy, that is Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, to Egypt and sold him for a petty price. Allah calls it a petty price because they didn't know who this boy was. A few dirhams, just for few silver coins. They had such a low estimation of him because they didn't even know what they were doing and who they had caught. وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ مِنْ مِصْرِ لِامْرَأَتِهِ أَكْرِمِي مَثْوَاهُ عَسَىٰ أَنْ يَنْفَعَنَا أَوْ نَتَّخِذَهُ وَلَدًا. The Egyptian who bought Yusuf alayhi salam said to his wife, "Be kind to him, he may prove useful to us, or we may adopt him as a son." Thus we established Yusuf in the land and arranged to teach him the understanding of affairs. Wallahu ghalibun ala amrihi walakinna aksara nasi la ya'lamun. Allah has full power over his affairs, though most people do not know. So what do we see here? Now, the place where Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam is living with his family, and this place where he has been sold in Egypt, probably the two situations were very different. Now what task Allah Ta'ala had to take from Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam? For that he had to be brought up in an environment where he could learn and get ready for the times that were facing him. Had he been left with Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam, he may not have been able to do what was required of him. So Allah Ta'ala creates. Now sometimes it happens that we are tried through good times and we end up in further good times. But here he was tried through a bad time to bring him to a good time. That means going through the phase of the well. Now that was something not easy. Then the bearing, the endurance of the father, then the attitude and the behavior of the sons, and then finally he comes to a family who is taking care of him now. So he got his footing in Egypt, and then Allah says we taught him the understanding of affairs. He was able to then, Allah Ta'ala gave him this wisdom of understanding the dreams, he gave him this wisdom of understanding the events, and we know that this we will see in the life of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, that we will see his sabr, then we will see his taqwa, and we will see his trust that he is going to put in Allah. and these came through different trials and tests for him, and in each one of them he was able to accomplish. And of course, when Allah Ta'ala gives this special wisdom to people, they are able to work it out also the way, and this of course can be given to anybody, if provided we have those qualities to carry on. For example, if somebody is able to endure, somebody has taqwa, somebody has trust, then Allah Ta'ala is going to help him also out of those situations. So we see that what happened was, when he reached maturity, now they say that when he reached his early 20s, we bestowed on him wisdom and knowledge, thus do we reward the righteous. That means Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam's character over this childhood and then his age of adolescence, and now when he was in his early age, Allah Ta'ala gave him that knowledge and then gave him that wisdom that was required for him to deal with those circumstances. What happened was that now, since he was living in this house of this finance minister who had taken him, who is also known as Aziz, which we will read here also. Now his wife, it is said that Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam was a very handsome looking man. So the wife started to having ill thoughts about him, and what happened is that the lady of the house, that is the master's wife, attempted to seduce him. She bolted the doors and said, "Come." So that means now coming after in a good situation, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam is being tested. How was he tested? By this woman seducing him. He replied, "May Allah protect me from this. My Lord has provided me with good residence." So now you see what happens is that he is offered by a woman, and Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam is going to turn it down. Whenever one option comes, and if anyone wants to turn it down, there will be reasons why he is turning down. We will see the level of taqwa in Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, that even this opportunity that he is going to turn down will be turned down in the name of Allah. And he will say what? That Allah has provided me a good residence. He saved me from the well. I was sold and now I get a good house. How can I betray my master? And this, out of fear of Allah, he lets go of this opportunity. وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ. So such wrongdoers shall not prosper. And what was his thinking? That even if I try to get away with this opportunity, I will still not be able to flourish. Now you can see the wisdom of accepting something and the wisdom behind refusing something. And if Allah grants this wisdom to anybody, that is the ultimate khair one can have as related to guidance. One is, people are like, for example, there may be people who are very intellectual, but they may not have this wisdom of how to deal with situations, and they may come up with negative reactions which even spoils the matter. From here we will learn how to control ourselves, and this is a part of wisdom. So if we want to learn how to practice wisdom or how to inculcate wisdom, then the story of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam is an ideal story for one to learn how is wisdom applied. So what he said was that he had to analyze the situation. Should I go for it or not? So this little pause of making this decision is where you can make a mistake or where you can save yourself. So here we see that he says, no, even if I do it, then what will happen? He said, no, then I will not be able to prosper. So this is not worth a deal. I should let go of it. But on the other hand, even though when one is trying to be pious, not necessarily that the person encountering is also going to be doing something pious. So we see what the lady does. She advanced towards him, and he would have advanced towards her had he not seen a sign from his Rabb. That means saving himself from that woman was not because of his own intellect, but because of the wisdom that Allah had given him, and this burhan made him save himself. That means every time that we save ourselves from a bad consequence is not because that the merit goes to us, but the merit again will go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us that ability and wisdom and tawfiq to refrain ourselves from doing so. We will inshallah come back and continue this story.